My complete name is Tyrone Tugwell.
Tyrone Tugwell.
Yep. I was born in Jamaica.
Yeah.
In a small little village outside Montego Bay called Johns Hall. Johns Hall.
Johns Hall.
Yeah, Johns Hall. It's very small, 6 miles away from downtown Montego Bay, which Montego Bay is like the second city in Jamaica. In 1975, so I'm officially 45 years old right now. I'm going to be 46 in 3 weeks. We moved to New York in '84, so I was 9 years old. And then lived in New York till I was 19. Then I went to university in Massachusetts. But actually, if we're going to talk about my techno experience, that starts, or my electronic music experience in general, that starts in New York before I moved to Massachusetts. I remember like the first house track, I think I talked about this before in a different interview. The first house track I ever remember hearing was Frankie Knuckles, Tears. I was living in Queens, I was going to junior high school, I was maybe 13. 89, yeah, about 89. So yeah, I liked that track. And then as we became teenagers, there was like all these like special nights at different clubs in New York. Like there was this one place called Soul Kitchen. I didn't feel like it was anything special because it was just another thing to listen to. It was like you want to go out on Tuesday, this is what they play on Tuesdays. So we went out and listened to house on Tuesdays, and there was other place, vinyl. Like, you know, when you're that age, you're just running around, you're just crazy. So I used to just.
Peter Rolfer, I don't know, it was like this sort of.
I don't remember.
Progressive house.
It was, yeah, it was more, no, it was more like soulful house.
Soulful house.
Yeah, like soul, you know, like even this place, Soul Kitchen.
Yeah.
It was like soul, more like funky house, more like, not like pyong 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 dancey house, but like, you know, more like groovy. That type of, you know, late 90s. Early 90s type of stuff. And they used to have hot wings.
Hot wings?
They used to have free hot wings at this place, Soul Kitchen. So you can get as many hot wings as you wanted to get.
It's like soul food.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was like their little thing. But it used to be so spicy because they didn't want you to eat too many of them. Because they were free. So if it was free but it wasn't so spicy, people would just keep on eating. So they made them super spicy so that you couldn't eat and you would drink a lot more beer. There was one friend of mine in particular, gravy. Gravy, like gravy that you put on top of rice. His name's actually Ronnie Shoemake is his real name. And he used to go to like the School of Performing Arts, which is the school that, you know, that movie Fame.
Yeah.
That school, he was like a student at that school for real. And that was like in the middle of Manhattan. Yeah, he's a fucking fantastic musician. He played the saxophone, he played drums, guitar, everything. He was one of my best friends at the time. And he went to like this school, the School of Performing Arts. So all of his friends were going to like these types of places, you know, going like, because we lived in Queens, and to get to Queens, from where we live in Queens to that part of Manhattan, took about an hour and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's quite a distance.
Yeah, so it was far. Like we had to take a bus for like 20 minutes. And then like if you want to get like downtown, like into the village, like Houston Street, like she said, that was a good hour and a half. Yeah.
Where in Queens?
I lived in Jamaica, Queens actually. So I moved from Jamaica to Jamaica, Queens. York is divided into five boroughs. Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, Bronx, Staten Island.
Oh, I see.
That's actually New York
Why
City.
is it called Jamaica Queens?
It's like how you'd have Södermalm. It's like a part of Stockholm.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's just.
So it's not that lots of Jamaican.
No, it's actually the official name. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because Jamaica is actually a British thing from way back in the days.
Is it?
Yeah, there's like Jamaica in England, there's Jamaica in Jamaica, and there's Jamaica in America because of the British connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The funny thing is, this is the same neighborhood that Donald Trump grew up in.
Oh.
Yeah, like where I live, it's like maybe a 10-minute drive. Yeah, like a 10-minute drive from where Donald Trump, like his childhood home. Yeah, I had a girlfriend that used to live on the same street. Of course.
What kind of area is Queens?
The funny thing about New York is like it's very segregated. So it's like you find pockets of everything.
Okay.
So wherever you are, you're never too far from the ghetto. You're never too far from a really rich
It's
neighborhood.
like London, really.
I never been to
London
London.
is a little bit like that.
Yeah, it's like you walk 10 minutes, you're in one neighborhood,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's completely different. And
You
you
have
walk
the villas. You have
exactly.
The, yeah.
It's exactly like that. Like my street, like I had like a fireplace in my house. I had fucking 3 floors. We had like a drive-in basement. Like you can drive your car into your house,
So
basically.
you come from a rich family then, or?
Not rich. My parents worked hard.
Okay.
Yeah, my mom had 2 jobs basically the whole time we were growing up, and if she didn't have 2 jobs, she had like 1 job and she was going to school. My dad always had 2 jobs, always had 2
So
jobs.
do you have many siblings?
No, I have a sister who's 1 year younger than me, and we grew up together. Like we are like, yeah, like the same person somehow, but different sides of the same person. And then I have a brother who's 15 years younger than me.
15?
15, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like I don't really know my little brother because when he was 5, I moved away to university, and I was in university for 3 years, and then I left straight from university and came here,
So where was the university? Was that in Massachusetts?
Massachusetts. Yeah,
I can never say that.
Massachusetts. Massachusetts.
I'll say it.
At university, I studied communication theory.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is like it's actually not based around media. It's not really like how to like produce a TV show, but it's more like the psychology and the sociology and the philosophy behind communicating in general. So it teaches you how to structure things, how to talk to people, how to how to advertise, how to convince. Like you learn those types of tools, and like if it's even more like education to be more like a therapist, like how to work with kids who have speech
Okay.
problems and stuff like that. So it's a really big area. So what I did was I wanted to work in television, but I wanted this like academic background also. So I worked in a TV station at the same time I was going to university. Yeah. And we did like this like Yo MTV Raps kind of show. Yeah, where we interviewed people and showed music videos and did concerts and met all these famous people.
Was he like an inspirational
Well,
force for you?
Definitely. What happened was somehow he had got in trouble where he lived, so he came and lived with us for a while. And he brought his whole sound system.
Oh.
This is like Jamaica in the early 80s. So you know those big fucking outdoor, dance hall speakers.
So when was this?
This was
Middle of the 80s?
this was, I could tell you, it was probably exactly 1983, 82. It was probably 2 years before we left Jamaica.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he came and he brought like, of course the reggae records, and most of it was, the small 45s or whatever they call it, with the big hole in the middle. But then a lot of it was also like American things, like Donna Summer, I remember very clearly. Donna Summer, like I fell in love with, I don't know if it's DJing, but something hit me that day when I saw that record for the first time. She Works Hard for the Money record. Like I remember looking at it and I don't think I've ever seen like pastels. It was like pastel colors and she was wearing this very typical American, diner uniform. And like, yeah, I remember very clearly, like to this day, like what that looked like and how black the vinyl was that was inside. That contrast of these bright pinks and greens.
Yellow background?
No, I think it's like turquoise and pink. Like typical pastel colors, like what houses look like in Miami. Like those kind of colors. And she was in like a 80s diner and she had like this waitress dress on, and I think she might have had like a.
That record.
Yeah.
I have that in Sundsvall where I
Yeah, you see? Yeah, it's a classic. I'm sure she sold millions. Yeah, it's so striking. Imagine like looking at that when you're like 7, 6 years old. You never see anything like that. And then the contrast of pulling that out, and seeing the smell too. I remember the smell, and it's like, this is like, whoa. I wouldn't say like, oh, I thought that I had to start being a DJ then. I just felt like this is something special. This whole music, this whole, the touching of it, the whole being a part of it, something clicked in some strange way that day and kind of stayed with me. I had this roommate that was a DJ. That's how I started. I listened to her. That's how I learned to DJ.
At the university?
Yeah. My roommate at the time, his name was Skeek. Skeek. His nickname is Skeek. Yeah, his real name is Steven Cumberbatch.
Like Skeek?
Skeek, no, 2 E's, S-K-E-E-K. He used to be a DJ, and he had his techniques. In our dorm room. Yeah, with his whole vinyl collection, all that stuff. So he'd play, and I'd watch him what he was doing, and I learned a little bit. And then the first time that I played by myself for real was one of my cousins had a party, and they had a record player, and they had 2 record players, but nobody knew how to DJ. So like they were like playing like Bob Marley, some old reggae, some dancehall stuff, but some of their friends wanted to hear hip hop. So I was like, oh, I know about the hip hop. They were like, oh, there's some hip hop records over there. So I ended up just picking up the hip hop records and kind of putting them on and flipping them over and figuring out how to do mixes and stuff like that. Yeah.
So when was this, when you played at your first party?
Oh, okay. Ooh, that's going to be a little bit hard. Okay. No, we were living in Queens. This was before university. So let's say 1992, 93. Yeah. So I moved to Stockholm, and
How come?
I met my daughter's mom in university.
Yeah.
So
Is it a Swedish?
my daughter's mom is Swedish. Her mother is Swedish and her father is Indian. Yeah. So I met her in university. At the time, she was probably the most beautiful person I'd ever seen. And I was like, okay, this woman is way above my, my level, out of my league, above my level, but I'm gonna try anyway. And we weren't gonna move here permanently. The idea was to move for 2 years and then go back after a couple of years. Because I figured, like, I was working in television, so I figured I'd come to Sweden, work in television for 2 years in Sweden, go back to the States and be the only person at a job interview that says, yeah, I've been working in Sweden for 2 years. So it would give me like an advantage. But then we were here for 2 years. We were here for about 1.5 years, and then me and my daughter's mom broke up.
Okay.
So that threw everything into threw all the plans out the fucking window also.
So when was this, when your mom and you broke up?
Me and my daughter's mom broke up a year and a half after we came here, so this is 2001. So officially I count myself as living in Sweden since 2002,
Okay.
officially. But I was here for a year and a half before that,
Yeah.
from 99 to like
Because
2001.
we opened Spy in June. No, June 2002.
Yeah.
And I think I met you
Yes.
quite early on.
Yeah,
I
'cause-
mean, before
yeah.
Spy opened, you
Yeah,
were there and
yeah.
you played at our opening weekend.
Yeah.
And
Do you have a crew then in Sweden?
Well, I had met Ola Mortensen, and he was the one that started Socially Hazardous. So one of the first things that I did when I came back, actually the first thing I did when I met all my friends was we all met and we had a meeting, and then we organized Socially Hazardous.
but how did you meet Ola?
I met Ola through another friend of mine, Stefan Larsson.
Stefan Larsson, yeah?
And Ola was, no, he wasn't doing parties then. Then he was studying to be a nurse, actually. But no, we just would go to parties together. Stefan was always partying, and we'd always go there. Ola would be there. And before I left in 2001, he had done we had done one party together in Långholmen. We had done one party, but I don't think we had called the Blue Bean then. We just did a party in that place.
Yeah.
So then,
2001?
2001. So then when I came back, Ola like organized a meeting. He was like, "Oh, you're back. We're gonna have a meeting. Come down, blah blah blah." So I came and I met, and that's when we organized Socially Hazardous. Yeah.
So how did you come up with the name Social Hazardous?
Ola did actually. The thing is, he took it from a sticker. It's like the company that, like he had a sticker in his bathroom, and the company that made the stickers was called Socially Hazardous Stickers or Socially Hazardous something. So he basically just took that and called that
It's a
stuff.
good name, I love it.
Yeah, it fit for what we were doing at the time too.